Hello, World Doll Day friends. This is Michael Canadas with the Grovian Doll Museum.
And I'm Sheryl Williams.
That's right. You are.
How about that?
Yes. And I am here with my good friend Sheryl Williams. And this is a program that she has decided that she wants to do. And Sheryl, you've spent many, many days here over the last few years.
Yes.
And you have your own little coffee mug in your own spot.
I do.
And you have been known to wander the halls and look at things.
Yes.
And I don't know what your favorite things are, but in this building, but you have picked whatever you want. Have I coerced you in any way?
No.
So these are Sheryl's favorite items. It doesn't matter if we've already talked about them. We're going to talk about them again. So you're going to lead this. I'm going to help you, but you now have the pointer, which the camera person now knows where you want to go with this.
Okay.
So I take it that you kind of like dolls, don't you?
Only a little bit.
And it seems like you like pretty dolls.
Oh, I like beautiful things. Okay. Always, yes.
So I'm still trying to figure out why do we have
lobsters? What about the
lobsters?
Well, but you know I have a sense of humor.
That's true, you do.
You know, and these just tickle my funny bone. They really do. These are John Narcy Noble's, and they're his lobster pair. And, you know, it's one of those things that every time you walk by the case and you see them, they make you happy.
They do.
Make you laugh.
And they're delicious.
Yes. I guess I didn't get to try this guy, I don't think, but they are just so clever. And they're big mouths and noses, and they just are a delight, a total delight.
Well, John discovered a plan on how to make those in one of the Godey's ladies magazines of the 1850s.
Okay.
And those were delicious dinners that he had. And then he saved the shells and dried them out. That is not their natural color. He's added color and coverings and finishes on them. But I mean, that's, you have a lot in common with John Noble. What can I tell you?
Well, they just tickle my funny bone, and I do in my own collection have some dolls that are they're just for fun.
To make you happy.
They make me happy, and I just smile every time I walk by. But I do love beautiful things. I have to say that.
So, but I was talking before we started this, and I said, hey, Sheryl, we've got lots of lobster shells that need to be, why don't we do a class on how to make lobster dolls?
I thought that was a plan.
Yeah,
I really
wouldn't that be fun?
Wouldn't that be fun to do?
Just out of scrap materials,
yes.
No
patterns, no.
Yeah, you go out and get your own lobster.
Oh, I thought that was going to be included.
We'll have lobster, but they'll have to go out. I think that would be a fun day or two.
It really would. It would be a fun day to do that. Okay, so now that we've got the light, let's go to our brews up here, which both of these have very special meanings to me because I've used both of them as seminars. This was Charity, and this was our brew, Police Chanel. So this doll I probably spent more time with here than any other doll in the collection because
it was worth spending time with.
Tricky costume to design. There's so many little special things that I kept coming back and making more notes and more measurements because she is so spectacular. And I think her face is one of the beautiful, beautiful Bruges faces. She's just magnificent.
And I think that's a kit that we need to that was a long time ago, and there's a whole new audience that would probably love to have that.
Okay, well that would be fine with me. That was a lot of fun, and so Brew Police Chanel. I'll tell you, it wasn't easy when Michael said pick your favorite dolls out of the cabinets. I thought, oh boy, that's going to be so easy. It was not. It was not easy to decide which are your favorites, but I kind of went back to the ones that I always walk by and check. I always check to see if they're there.
And they are.
And they are. They're
Yeah.
always there.
Yeah.
Sometimes moved, but Michael.
Well, we want to keep you on your toes.
Yes,
we don't want
right.
it to be so
Yes, so fun.
sameness.
Right. So let's go from these yummy, beautiful French to a magnificent German doll.
Well, this is Carl, and you know what's really interesting about Carl? His brother just made it on the BBC News.
Wow.
For selling at auction with a chewed up foot, which is really kind of a wonderful thing, because the chewed up foot was done by a family dog, and the dog survived, and they were getting ready to throw him in the trash.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
no. Well,
and
he
it
got
brought
rescued.
a wonderful price and made the news.
Wow, that's something.
But he's one of my favorite dolls.
Yes. The expression on this character is just so pensive, and the painting just accentuates all that, and beautiful sculpting on his face. He's just amazing little boy with his painted eyes.
I'm sure he's looked down at you many times when you're having dinner during our classes.
Yes,
because
it's true.
He's on the top shelf.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's nice and tall. That was
it's a big doll, isn't it?
He is. He is a big doll. So
yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
and that's a K-Star 107.
Right.
His brother is the one that just sold was with the molded hair.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, they come two ways. Okay.
So who's next?
Well, I think I'm going to save this one to last because she's very special. But let's come and take a look at this one. And I said to Michael, because she got moved in some of the reorganization in the museum because of World Doll Day, and I missed her. I went and looked for her, and I said, "Where is she?" So Michael said, "Well, she's not lost. We really have moved her." But the little face and her little tiny body with all the joints is just absolutely charming. And of course, I love wardrobes, and she has a fine wardrobe that goes with her.
Sheryl, this is the #1 most requested. If you ever sell it, let me have it. I want it. What do I have to do to get it? And it's a very interesting story. This was bought at auction by a friend of ours, and she got it home and found a boo-boo on it. And she walked it over to us to off it on us. You know, like, I found a problem with this. I don't want it. And when I saw that little body, I was thrilled. I was thrilled. I didn't even stop to look at
what the
problem was.
Yes.
And then I got it home, washed it. Nothing perfect.
Yeah. No boo-boo.
No,
her boo-boo's washed away.
And she has now wanted to get it back for quite a few years.
I'll bet.
It's like, yeah, too bad.
Yeah.
You didn't like her when you thought she had a
boo-boo.
But
she is.
And it's clearly a German copy of a French doll.
Yeah.
But just very cute.
Oh, she is adorable.
Have you ever held her?
No,
you'll be surprised.
I don't think so, because I'm not allowed to rummage in the cabinets.
Yes, you can. Look, it's as light as a feather.
It is.
And I think that's why we don't see them. I mean, that could just
it's probably true.
If she got wet
or whatever. Yeah, she just, with her open, closed mouth, she's just absolutely.
I've tried to find a bigger version of this head to reproduce for classes, but I have not been successful yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I found a couple that were really incredibly large, but you'd have to scale it down.
Oh, and when you scale large things down to small, they distort.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to do that. One reduction is really what you want on these. So
if I do...
Now I know where you are.
So if I can make it happen, you can have that as a class.
Yes.
Because I think everyone would love to have her as a travel doll.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so maybe we'll move down on this end. Now, this is a face to grab you across the room. I mean, those eyes and her expression and her coloring. She's a portrait jumeau, and what number?
5.
A 5. She is one that just, if you're looking across the room, you just are drawn immediately, or at least I am, because those big, gorgeous eyes just take you in. And her painting is so soft. Her lip color is soft and her brows are soft, in contrast to those very large eye cuts. She's quite
What I think is great
something.
about the eye cuts is you do see the big eyes, but sometimes they have tiny eye and a big eye, and hers, they're
pretty balanced.
very balanced.
Very balanced. And of course, she's had a beautiful pink and cream dress, which totally complements the doll. I mean, it's just the perfect thing. She's just pink perfection.
And for bébés, this is the beginning.
Yes.
These are some of the very first that were ever made.
Yes. And you can tell with her radial threaded eyes, and you see the spokes in her eyes. Those are the early jumeau eyes, not the later ones. Okay, should we move down
I'm doing it your way. It's Sheryl's way.
Sheryl's way. Okay, so this is one also I check every time I come. I immediately go to her case to make sure she's still there and that she's still perfection, because this one's pink perfection, this one's blue perfection. The original wig just is amazing. The original set and the way her little ribbons sit in the top. And she's a brew, and she has this gorgeous dress with the tulle. Now you'd think that this would be soft, but this is very starched. So it kind of allows the silk of the poofs to poof out better. If these were really soft, like a cotton tulle or even a silk tulle, they would collapse. But these are really stiff and nice. And she's got lovely beading and more tulle down here.
And blue Chantilly lace.
Yes, blue Chantilly lace. And I think she is a dream.
Well, I'm glad you like her, because it's one of our favorites.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting about her, Sheryl, is we bought her at an event on the last day.
So people had passed her the
Exactly.
whole time. Unbelievable.
I mean, I thought that was
can't believe that.
astounding.
It is, because ever since I've been here from the beginning, I've always been drawn to her, because there's something magical about her.
Well, and it is an early brew face, but it's
Yes.
not a typical face.
Mm-hmm.
It's an unusual face.
Yes. So let's move over to another girl, another blue. And this is, which I've never been able to touch before, I think a candy container.
It is? Uh-huh.
And how does it open, Michael?
You opened it right.
Whoops,
Well,
we have to move
we've got to move it a
him.
little bit. And it opens just like so.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
And
with
it's
all the
it's a
papers.
commemorative piece. It's to commemorate the birth of the imperial prince,
Oh, really? Oh.
Napoleon III's son and heir.
Okay. Well, it's just magnificent. I mean, the thing fascinated me, and I know you told me before that it was a candy container. Of course, I've never been able to get
Could you
this close
imagine
to
the
her.
candy that would be in that?
Oh, wow. Yes.
And Sheryl, think about this. Another thought: it couldn't have been the only one. They had
true. They would have been in production.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
But I've never seen another one.
Well, and look at the condition on this one. This is just perfection. But of course, we've got to have a nursemaid that goes with this. So I had to take the nursemaid and the baby with the box, so that you can see she's a lovely, lovely face, dressed just like I would expect her to be dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing fancy and cottons and organdies, because she's the nursemaid that takes care of the little one, who I don't even.
It's a little Simon Halbeck.
It's a little
kid.
Simon
Mhm.
Halbeck kid. Yes.
No, but
So
it's a beautiful Doliac face.
Yeah.
And you just don't see them that often in that size. So
Okay.
it's,
Yes.
you don't see them often at all, but not
Right.
in that size.
Yes.
I'm glad you like
Oh,
her. So
I love I love that one.
She's actually one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
You know, I like them fancy, but I also like them plain.
Yes.
Just like you like plain lobster.
Yes, I like the plain lobsters, yes. Yes. Okay, so should we do the men?
Sure, if you want to.
Yes, because I've been pretty interested in men recently.
Really? All of a sudden? How does Ed feel about that?
I haven't told him that, but he would probably find that comical. But let's get your top hat out of your face and get it on.
Well, we've had that little
properly.
guy, that little man for a while.
He is wonderful with his little pinch knees and he's got his walking stick here and this gorgeous formal costume.
It's beautifully made, Sheryl.
It looks like it. And the wool is so soft and nice. Now, when we're talking about men and dolls, because I've been doing some study recently on this, he's leaning back a little bit. Let's see if we can make him stand.
He tends to slump a bit.
Yes, I can see. I can tell. Just
I think it's
slump over. You can see the detailing back here in the buttons, but you have to remember that we're talking doll clothes here. This is not a reproduction of a man's suit, because in this scale, it wouldn't be possible to get all of those details. It has the same shapes. It's got the cut with the drop shoulder here, and this cut down back here, and his little tails coming out. But if this was a man's costume, it would be much more tailored than this. So that's always
important. And you probably
important.
couldn't even get it on the doll.
I don't think you could.
No.
I have seen people before try to take a photo or an illustration of a woman's costume and duplicate it down, to 14
and it doesn't
inches.
Work.
It doesn't work at all. It doesn't look anything like the illustration look. You have to simplify. So I think that's really important with these. And let's see what's in his.
I can't even remember. So.
Yeah, he has a beautiful
it looks like it was
lining.
originally a candy box.
Oh yes,
look at that.
It is. Look at. Can you see the gathering of the silk? That would have been adorable.
Wouldn't that be cute?
Yes, it would. And it looks like imitation beaver. It's wonderful.
I forgot that. I haven't looked at it in a long time.
He had his hat off. Well, he needs a little bit of hairdo here. So that's man, a formal man, number one.
Well, I think of him as kind of like a teenager, because he doesn't really, he's kind of a little bit, that gawky stage.
I see.
He hasn't totally gotten
himself together in his proper stance, and it needs his hair done for sure. Okay, so let me move. Maybe we'll move him aside and bring the other man over, because that's a good spot for photographing. This man has an amazing face, and it's not a woman doll that has been made into a man. This is really a man's face, and he's got nice painted mustache, and his coloring is a little different as a male. The expression that he's got in his brows here, he looks masculine. And he looks like an older guy to me.
Oh, yes. I agree with that.
He's a mature man. So, wow.
And as far as we know right now, he's the only DeHore's doll male with a painted and fired mustache. The rest of them have fur appliques.
Yeah, just the fur application. And actually, you probably can't tell in the video, but he's actually dark green. This is a deep green velvet, really soft velvet. Oh, and look what we've got under here. We've got our pinch knees too. So.
You should have a pipe somewhere too, but it may.
Oh, does he?
It may have gotten put somewhere else.
I don't feel it.
Well, he's been out this.
Has he been
last
out?
couple of weeks.
Okay.
He's been a man about town.
I see. So let's turn around and see his back. He's got a nice cut to his jacket with with the opening back here and the little silk covered buttons. And he's just got silk piping as his, let me turn like that and see, as the finish to the jacket. Velvet is still that silk velvet that's really, really soft and really a bear to work with. But it's a nice, easy finish on this, just to bind it rather than have to turn it back and hem it. So that's man number 2. And now, who are we?
I think you're actually.
I think we're at the end.
We're at the end.
Yes.
So we'll end on this little cute thing.
Little lady. This is again one with an absolutely spectacular face. The coloring on her, the hatching you see on her eyebrows, the strokes are going both directions, up and down, to make it look furry. And she is so pale and so gorgeous. This was an exhibition doll.
From the former collection of Sheryl Williams.
Yes, that's true. And there were a number of things about her that I was drawn to. Number one, that the scale of the doll was big enough that I was able to take her apart and have molds made that we used for the Doll Artisan Guild. And in the disassembly, which was one of the scariest things I've ever done by myself, where I had to remove her shoulder plate, and then we removed the arms, and the arms go all the way up.
They're huge.
They're huge and really, really heavy. And when I got the arms off from the body and I looked down inside, there's French newspaper inside, which I was just thrilled out of my mind to ever find a documentation, because the doll had never been taken apart before. This was the first time. So in there, I pulled out the first one and flattened it all out and looked, and it was all in French, but there's no date, there's no newspaper name, there's okay, well, let's try the other side. And in there we hit the jackpot, because the date and the name of the newspaper is in there. And it surprised me, because I always thought these dolls were much earlier, but her newspaper, she was stuffed with 1889. So we know that was when she was made.
Well, in 1889, there was the exposition.
Right.
So these really were only, the jumeau exhibition dolls were for exhibition. So they are early and late.
Right. But the other thing that drew me, besides this gorgeous face, was this costume, because it's not really a doll's costume. This is really a miniature of a real woman's costume, the way it's constructed, and all of this fabulous.
It could make anybody cry.
Oh, it could. It could.
Because
so
this is not a couple of days class.
No, it's not. This is weeks. And then underneath we see the bellows, a double here, and she's got some petticoat under there, and the whole thing is lined, and it would have been a really difficult pattern to make, is all I can think of.
And look at Sheryl, she steals. Because she took your fan.
She took my fan. Well, she knew it belonged to her. She's the one that should have it, for sure.
Actually, and it's really, it will be,
it works.
It's going to be hers.
The scale.
It makes total sense.
The scale is just right. And she's got that beautiful chunky arm where she can hold that fan just perfectly.
And I don't know if I've told you this, but maybe I have, but I maybe have never told you this on film. Our doll club, which you're a member of, Carmel Doll and Toy Study Group, our first doll show that we did in Monterey, which Jane Coleman and Dorothy Coleman were there as speakers. This doll was on the table.
You're kidding.
No.
You never
And I will
told me
never
that.
forget it. I have a photograph of it because it had a price tag, which was at that time was almost the price of a house.
Oh.
So we're going back a long time.
Boy, really?
Yeah. And it's absolutely the same doll.
Wow. No, you've never shared that with me.
And I have a photograph of it somewhere.
I want to see
So
that.
when you came around, this is 35 years later, you came around and said, I've got this doll. I don't have a place for it. Would you take it? It's like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So it's kind of a,
So
I love to see her every day, and I also love to see her when she comes up in my news feed because people share it.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, there she is. But isn't that a face?
Oh, it is magnificent face. Totally magnificent face.
Just recently, someone who made a very disparaging remark about the jumeau firm. I would like to say, now I'd like to see you do that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But it is a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece for sure. Say she's so heavy, I don't even dare to pick her up and turn her. She weighs a ton.
She does.
She's just stuffed so firmly.
Yeah. And I have to. She hasn't been out because I have to do a little waist work because she's so heavy that she just needs a little tiny bit of reinforcement.
We'll take care of my girl.
Yes. Well, Sheryl, thank you for sharing your favorite things that are also some of my favorite things.
Well, good. I was
David's
glad.
favorite things.
Well,
David hasn't been out here to look, but I'm sure he would say, yeah, those are my favorite things too.
Good.
But I'll bet you $10 he'd say, well, that one could go.
Really?
I bet you.
Okay. Well, she can go my way.
That's right. All right, doll friends.
This has been fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.